Uncouth customers. Brucavu has an urgent job or a courageous soul. Brucavu. Evray, I was wondering when you'd be along. Not a moment too soon either. I've got an urgent job that needs doing, and there's no one else I'd entrust with it. Of course you'll be wanting to know the details. It's a long story, so why don't you grab a seat over there? I'll join you shortly. I have a few things to finish up here before I join you. Make yourself comfortable, Evray. It's going to be quite the yarn. Oh, really? Don't stand on the table. Rukavu. Now that we're all settled, allow me to introduce myself properly. I'm Brukavu, proprietor of FF14. As you know, my establishment is open to anyone. People hailing from across Tural, and sometimes further, come here to whet their appetite and slake their thirst. Given how we turn no one away, it's inevitable that a few bad apples might mix into my motley patrons. And therein lies the rub. A particularly rotten bunch was here not long ago. Sitting just over there, in fact, and having a conversation most foul. Stranger, I thank you all for coming here, so far from your respective homes. Elegantly dressed woman. As this is the first time we have all gathered in one place, perhaps formal introductions are in order. I am Ral Majun. Welcome, welcome. What'll you be having? Elegantly dressed woman. Could we have a moment, please? We are in the middle of something very important. Now then, where was I? Oh yes, I am Apyahi. If you are sitting here now, it is because I have personally invited you to the passage of the Unbound, my secretive, villainous order with ambitions to sow discord throughout the world. Arrogant woman. Villains do not often call themselves such. Nor do secret orders have their meetings in places where all eyes can see. Apyahi, what do you know? Your snide remarks only ruin my carefully constructed atmosphere. If I had time to think of a suitable slogan, you would understand that words are everything. But I digress. I invited you all here for one reason. To throw the world into a mire of chaos, and then watch its nations crumble. What else would we call ourselves if not villainous? Haughty man, my only interest is to punish all who've dared to mock and belittle me. So long as I can achieve that, you can call me whatever you like. The rich, the powerful, the mighty, all shall be crushed under the weight of my ire. Taciturn man. A grand design for a group of 6. Even if we managed to muster others to our side, there's a limit to what we can accomplish. Abyahi, I regret to say you are right. At present, we are bound and powerless. That is why, in order to raise our fists against our oppressors, we must find the strength to shatter our shackles. And in so doing, we shall become unbound. Like the birds soaring up above, we shall take flight and spread our wicked wings, staining the azure skies black. Ah, but sometimes skies become treacherous with clouds, and even birds must rest. Snobbish man, you speak of finding strength. Is that why we are here? To look for it? If so, then I pledge my aid, my newfound might. With a newfound might at my beck and call, I shall win adoration known only by a hero. Abyahi, your eagerness is heartening, and you are correct. The tools to make our goal a reality lay in Tural. Across this continent can be found certain artifacts which possess untold power. Mirthful woman, did you say artifacts? Oh ho ho, I sense an adventurous hunt for instruments of devious devilry ahead. Hee, my imagination is overflowing with images of the new forms my trickery might take. I dare say the world is not ready. Yahi. Yes, well, to get to the heart of the matter, the objects are held by the disparate tribes which make their homes in the Tural continent, where they have been passed down through generations as sacred treasures. Whatever stories these people have attached to their so-called treasures matters not. Each contain the essence of fearsome beasts, called Tural Vidral, and with them in our possession, none shall be able to stand against us. We shall take the objects for ourselves, bring them across the sea, and use them to undermine nations far and wide. The means by which you each choose to do so, I leave in your hands. I only ask that you do not disappoint. I take it there are no questions. Then let the passage of the unbound open unto the world. We begin at once. Majun, they didn't order a single thing. Rukevu. That's the long and short of it. What do you think? They might lack this discretion, but they seem formidable nonetheless. They left without ordering anything. Villainous indeed. They lack discretion, but seem formidable. Rukavu. Of course, we have a duty to report what we heard to the Landsguard. We did. But it didn't make a damn difference, because soon we learned those unwelcome guests had teeth. Not long ago, one individual from a remote tribe came here seeking help recovering a stolen relic. Then another came with the same story, and another, and so on. By the time we realized the passage of the Unbound was a real threat, they had one and all made their way across the sea with their ill-gotten gains. Each tribe has sent one of their own to recover what was lost, but being in strange lands, they are at a disadvantage. That's why I've been looking for someone who knows every corner of Eorzea and beyond. Now, I know you've business in Tural, or else you wouldn't be here in the first place. Jesus, what a face. But if you could take the time to hear Ral Majun out, you'd be doing a service to many who could really use a helping hand. Scary. Alright, I can do that. $1 million. Ral Majun. Greetings. Allow me to thank you personally for lending your assistance in this matter. We've been quite desperate for someone suitable. Rahulja. Greetings, Ral Majun. At the risk of becoming a daily nuisance, I must ask, have there been any developments you might share? Ral Majun. A nuisance? Why, perish the thought. You've come just in time, in fact. None other but the vaunted Evray has agreed to aid to the search. Rahulja. Finally, a fortunate turn. So long as our sacred treasures are in wicked hands, our homes shall know no peace. To say nothing of the danger they pose to other nations. If these thieves really do intend to stir up chaos across the seas, then you had better depart on the next ship. But before you do, it might be proper to introduce you to those who have come to Tuliolal in search of aid. Lozenikwe there comes from a village far to the north. A single warrior cannot hope to withstand the power of her tribe's relic, so she requires a stout protector, someone that can be leaned upon when times are darkest. The heirloom that Nipine must recover afflicts terrible maladies upon its victims. He seeks someone who commands great healing magics to counteract this effect. The search for Sheshepya's tribal treasure has been entrusted to a peerless hunter. She requires someone to act as a frontline fighter who can distract her target while her bow takes deadly aim. And lastly, there is Tsuhi, who knows little about her people's ancient artifact aside that it must not fall into the wrong hands. She seeks a mage of great power, but anything beyond that lies shrouded in mystery. Raal Majun, aren't you forgetting someone, Raholja? Your crisis is just as pressing, even if you won't say so yourself. Raal Majun. That's the same person. Raholja hails from further south than even Mamuk, and has traveled many days and nights in search of someone who can strike down their prey from afar. It's the only way to escape the effects of his village's treasure. Did I get that right? Raholja. Indeed, indeed. I do get so forgetful in my old age. Thank you, Raal Majun. 5 tribes, 5 stolen treasures. All are waiting for the aid of a brave soul. Hopefully that can be you, Evray. Raal Majun. Of course, I'll share all that I know on the matter. You only need ask. And know that I will not hold it against you should you choose to assist only those for whom your talents are best suited. So long as you do what you can, the people of Tural, and maybe even further, will be in your debt. Raal Majun. Welcome, welcome. How goes the search for the treasures? If there's anything you'd like to ask me about, I should be happy to tell you all I can. How are things? They could be better, I confess. The thieves are still at large, and each clan has sent one of their own to track them down. One of your varied talents would be of great help, should you be willing to lend your aid. Tell me about the sacred treasures. They are objects of incredible power, passed down through generations to clans hailing from all corners of Tural. Within each is sealed the essence of an animal which became a fearsome Tural Vidral, and these have come to be revered by their respective peoples. These treasures allow the wielder to harness the power of the beast within them, and thus did clans protect their homes. But the origins of these relics are shrouded in mystery. None know who made them or why. The answer to some questions has simply been lost to time, I suppose. Tell me about the passage of the Unbound. What did that Abyahi call it again? Oh yes, a secretive, villainous order. And of that I've no doubt. The 6 of them sat right over there and didn't order a single thing the whole time. Abyahi seemed to be their self-styled leader, and claimed their goals were to sow discord throughout the world and make its nations crumble in the process. Stealing the treasures was only a means to this end, it seems. They succeeded in their initial goal, and have since fled back across the sea. However, it would appear that each thief has retreated to a different destination. The retrieval of the treasures is paramount, both to bring peace to these troubled peoples and to quell the threats of further evil. Brukevu, I know you're a busy man. Rest assured, once this passage of the Unbound business is dealt with, there will be a full plate of my finest tacos, with your name on them. Yummy. Of course. Okay, we begin with the tank. Loznique. The narwhal beckons. The young woman gazes into the horizon with a troubled expression. Loznique. Oh, hello. Judging by your attire, you must be the traveler from across the seas. Then I suppose Brukavu has enlisted you to our aid. That you were guided here safely must be the work of the brave narwhal, who remains watchful even in this dire time. We are ever grateful for its vigilance. My name is Loznique, and I hail from the northern reaches of Jacques Tourelle, where even our breath freezes when caught in the chilling winds. Our people revere a Tourelle Vidral of the narwhal, whose essence rests in the cradle of the sleepless, our most sacred treasure. Through fathomless depths, it swam without rest, protecting its home from any who would do it harm. Legends tell that the narwhal could place the burden of its fatigue upon another, and thus was able to maintain its vigil night and day. So too can any who possess the cradle lull a person, willing or no, into a deep slumber, all while avoiding the need for sleep themselves. Needless to say, such power could cause untold harm in the wrong hands. Thus was the greatest warrior of our village, Tentoa, tasked with crossing the ocean and returning that which is most sacred to us. I'd have joined him, but I feared I would only be a burden, so I remained here, that I might find someone to send to his aid. Tentoawa has ever rushed bravely and blindly into the thick of things, leaving me behind to watch and worry. But if there's anything I can do to help him, even a little, then I must. Brukavu has done well to send you to me. I can tell you are just the man to temper his more reckless tendencies and keep him safe during his quest. As luck would have it, a letter from Tentoawa arrived shortly before you did. It seems he discovered that the thief made their way to a place called Ishgard. While I don't doubt his prowess, even Tentoa would be rendered helpless before the narwhal's lullaby. Please, could you follow him to Ishgard and find him before he does anything rash? Ishgard is like a second home to me. I won't let your treasure be misused. Ishgard is like a second home to me. Thank you, Ebre. I knew the narwhal would guide a brave protector to our side. Tentoa sails to an unfamiliar place, but despite his hasty nature, he'd doubtless spend time gathering information about his new surroundings before planning his next step. If Ishgard has a place like this one, where people gather to drink and talk, he might go there first. Ask for a swordsman with blue hair and attire like mine, and I'm sure it won't be long until you find him. Swordsman, huh? Tentoa has traveled to Ishgard, and he's likely gathering information in the city's taverns. Hua. Gibrillant. Gibrillant. If it isn't Evray, what'll it be? I'm looking for a man. A lad from the western continent? Well, I can't be going around gossiping about the comings and goings of my customers, now can I? That's a quick way to an empty tavern. But I suppose since you're you, I can make an exception just this once. A lad much like the one you described walked through my door not long ago. Was asking anyone whose ear he could bend about some stolen narwhal or some such he was after. Usually you buy someone a drink before interrogating them, but not him. Nobody knew what he was going on about, but he was determined. Asked where else in Ishgard people might gather to flap their lips. So I told him to head to the jeweled crozier. If you leave now, I reckon he'll still be there. You'll know him when you see him. Trust me. If you want to catch up with that lad you're searching for, you'd best head for the jeweled crozier before he moves on. No. Hot-blooded youth. Bunch of useless. By the narwhal's horn, you'd think the manners keep people warm for how desperately these people cling to them. And here I'm trying to rid their city of a thief. Yes? It seems you know me, but I don't think I've ever seen you before. I'd remember. Lozanique sent you? Even across oceans, she can sense when I'm in trouble. Well, I won't deny a helping hand, especially one with her blessing. I'm having no luck getting information from these people. Seems there are unwritten rules regarding favors that no one's bothered to tell me. I know the thief traveled here, but that's where the trail runs cold. I thought it'd only be a matter of time until they used the cradle to commit some misdeed or another. But it seems nothing is amiss within or without Ishgard's walls. I have only a description to go on, although it's availed me nothing so far. A woman of a race known in this land as Elizan. She has striking red hair and eyes the color of rust. A scar dominates her forehead, and a mole rests upon her lips. She came to my village posing as a scholar with an interest in the cradle. Although she gave us a name, I now know it was a lie, just like everything else that spewed from her mouth. The bounty of meat, vegetables, and fruits she offered was worth its weight in gold to us. After the cold snap we suffered last year, we couldn't afford to turn her away. But looking back, I realize how brazen her deception was. Although she wore the robes of a scholar, she moved with the poise of a predator. I marked her as a fearsome warrior the moment I laid eyes upon her. Of course, she wouldn't have been able to travel so far north on her own if she was unseasoned, so I thought nothing of it at the time. It was my first misstep of many. That's all I know. It's not much, but if you see even the smallest scrap of a clue in there, it would be a damn sight better than what I currently have. Few scholars study in Ishgard without passing through the astrologicum. If she feels even an ounce of guilt, she would seek penance at St. Raymonand's Cathedral. A skilled sword would be known among the knights of the congregation. She's not really a scholar. And I doubt she would feel guilty. This doesn't seem like a good choice either. Well, I'm going to go with the scholar one anyway. Few scholars study in Ishgard without passing through the astrologicum. Tentoawa. I see your point, but her guise as a scholar was only meant to win our trust. I doubt she's a woman of learning. Yeah. Skilled sword. Yeah, I guess it's this one. But we already got one wrong, so might as well see what he says for this one too. If she feels even an ounce of guilt, she would seek penance at St. Raymonand's Cathedral. Penance. I haven't heard the word before, but I can guess its meaning. Either way, she didn't strike me as the remorseful type. Yeah. A skilled sword would be known among the knights of the congregation. Knights, was it? I suppose that's what you call these deadly-looking fellows clad in steel. Yes, you may be onto something there. But where would we find one willing to speak? At their barracks, near the tavern? I know the way. I'll meet you there. Tentoawa. This is it, right? Let's not waste any time, Evray. Malbert. Why, Master Valkyrie? What brings you to the congregation? This Passage of the Unbound is not a name I have heard before, but if one of their number has brought an artifact of great power to Ishgard, we would be ill-advised to suffer their presence. We shall act on this information at once. If there is aught that would threaten the peace, then it is our duty to root it out. Consider the knights of the congregation at your disposal. Tentoa. Thank you for hearing us out, truly. Now, does anything about the description we shared ring a bell? From Malbert. An Elizan woman with red hair and eyes the color of rust. You said she bore a scar on her forehead, yes? And a mole? No, it could not be. Tentoa. You know who she is? Tentoawa. Malbe. Well, such information is usually privy only to those within our order. Pray understand my hesitation. Tentoawa. What? Weren't you listening to anything we told you? She's too dangerous to be left alone. This isn't the time for secrecy. I know I'm a stranger in your city, but I can't stand by while innocent lives might be at risk. If you can't trust Tentoawa, then trust me. He's right, the danger justifies bending the rules a little. Yeah. Although he's a knight, I feel like that answer isn't really going to appeal to him. Let's go with this one. If you can't trust Tentoawa, then trust me. Yeah, you know me. Malber. You are right, of course. If the hero who ended the Dragonsong War is not worthy of our trust, then who is? Very well. Master Tentoawa, pray accept my apologies. Although you may not be Ishgardian, your desire to keep its people safe is plain to see. We shall place our trust in you, as Master Valkyrie has. Tentoawa. I'm glad we can see eye to eye. Now then, do you know of this thief? Malber. Your description called back some old memories. Memories of a knight named Leofine. Leofine? Leofine? Let's go with Leofine. Merely recalling her story makes me ill at ease. The mark she left upon our honorable order was black as pitch. None know of her whereabouts since she was expelled from the congregation. I had thought living with the shame of her deeds would be punishment enough. But if she now consorts with villains that threaten the very foundation of order, then 'tis clear we can suffer her freedom no longer. I shall inform my superiors of this development, and suggest that the congregation does all in its power to track down Leofine and place her in custody. If we learn aught of value, I promise to share it with you at once. Tentoawa. Really? It's more than we could have asked. I suppose we ought to consider what to do in the meantime. Care to join me over there, Evray? Malber. I shall inform my superiors at once. Worry not, we shall soon form a plan to bring that wicked Leofine to heel. Wonder if that character's been mentioned before. Kind of rings a bell. Something about disgracing the order. But maybe I'm thinking of the Dark Knights questline. Tentoawa. So, we have a name. Leofine, a former knight of Ishgard. That means she knows how to hide herself in this city well. grasping about at straws won't get us anywhere. My own unfamiliarity does little to help our chances. We may have no choice but to wait until the knights discover a lead. Nevertheless, I intend to spend every waking moment learning more about this city and its workings. As for you, I only ask that you be ready to move at a moment's notice. Till then, be well. Sleepless Nishgard. Tentoawa is eyeing each passing Ishgardian with curiosity. There you are, Evray. I've been walking Ishgard streets wherever I've been able, and I've taken to searching for any sleeping people. You see, the land I'm from isn't much warmer than this, and people know not to tempt fate by dozing off in the open air. Even those blind with drink manage to find their way home somehow. I figure the only force powerful enough to overcome that instinct for self-preservation would be the cradle. So if we find a sleeper exposed to the elements, we may very well discover Leofine nearby. I can't imagine she brought it all this way just to remain idle. It's a tedious prospect, but we need to scour every back alley and shadowed walkway before anyone catches something much worse than a cold. Malbear, Master Valkyrie, Master Tentoawa, I bring good tidings. The music says otherwise. The Temple Knights wasted no time in distributing handbills across Ishgard containing Leofine's description. These efforts have already borne fruit. We but recently received a report of someone matching her features being sighted. Tentoawa. Really? Where? Grimalbe. She was sighted near Camp Dragonhead by a patrolling sentry. He described a woman with red hair and a distinct scar on her forehead. The outpost can be reached by passing through the Gates of Judgment and heading east. Once there, speak with Sir Eugenois for the full report. Tentoawa. I knew she'd show herself. Let's hurry, Evray. Thank you, soldier. Tentoawa. This must be him. Well, don't dally. Eugenois. Ah, I was informed you were on your way. This is concerning the report by one of our sentries. Yes? He cited a woman matching the description in the handbill sent by the congregation. She was heading south along the footpath. That is all we know. Yes, this is Eugenois. What? Hold fast. I shall send aid at once. Tentoawa. What happened? Eugenois. A shipment of supplies was waylaid by monstrous beasts. A contingent of Temple Knights should have been protecting it, but something is amiss. Sleeping on the job? Tentoawa. They need our help. Eugenois. We would be in your debt. The shipment was attacked on the road west of the observatorium. I shall muster more knights. Please go find my men before any lives are lost. The supplies shipment was struck on the road west of the observatorium. It will take time to muster enough men for the rescue. Please, leave now and render what aid you can. Tentoawa. They should be close, right? I'll search the other side of the river. Ivray, you search further down the road, and keep your weapon at the ready. Grr. That's for Tom. No. Chocobo. Oh, it's sleeping. As for Tom Knight, you saved us. We were almost... Tentoawa to the rescue. You won't be feasting today. Not a moment too soon. The wide eye watches eternal, and eternal to the sleep it bestows. We were too late. As for Tom Knight... No, they're not. Ah, just look. They're asleep is all. Tentoawa. Good, good. It's the cradle. As for Tom Knight, our trusty chocobos suddenly became unsure on their feet, and the wagon toppled onto the side of the road. There was nothing for it but to fix the damage on the spot. The Temple Knights went to secure the area, but before I knew it, each and every one of them had fallen asleep where they were standing. Then the beasts attacked. It was just me before those snarling fangs. Tentoawa. Time to wake up. Sleep here any longer and the cold will have you. Ardent Temple Knight. What happened? We fell asleep? But we were patrolling. Earnest Temple Knight. He must be mistaken. Temple Knight would never shirk his duty so... As for Tom Knight, are you calling me a liar? I saw you fall over on your arse with my own eyes. If not for Sir Eugenois' quick response and the bravery of these warriors, we would all be food for the vultures by now. The congregation will hear of this dereliction of duty You can be sure. Derelict my ass. 10 to hour. Now, just hold on a moment. They aren't the ones to blame. A sacred relic of my people was stolen and... now isn't the time. Sorry, forget I said anything. House for Tom Knight. Whatever dizziness overtook the chocobos seems to have passed. So I'll resume my journey once the carriage is repaired. Assuming my guards are quite refreshed, I believe we can make it on our own. Please, return to the Camp Dragonhead and warm yourselves. Tentoawa. It's no coincidence that the giant birds and the 2 guards took leave of their senses around the same time. This is the work of the cradle. You don't say. But even if Leofine was here, she is no longer. Let's return to the city and consider our next steps. Right. It's not their fault. House for Tom Knight. You said that knights from Camp Dragonhead are on their way, yes? Then I believe we shall have ample protection for the remainder of our journey. See you later. Oh, Ishgard. Wait. Genois. The supplies are safe and the men are unharmed. House for Tom thanks you for your swift action. Cool. Why did she tell us to warm ourselves at Camp Dragonhead? She debated me. Tentoawa. Leofine may have escaped us, but the witness's report has given us a clue to follow. Thank the Narwhal for guiding us swiftly to the knights. Narwhal. Firmalbear. We have received the reports of the incident near Camp Dragonhead. 2 of our own, sleeping on duty. By the Fury. Had you reached them even a moment later, this day would have been much darker. Although it pains me to say it, those 2 shall be punished as befits the magnitude of their negligence. Tentoawa. If I may, I don't believe the blame rests entirely on their shoulders. The cradle of the sleepless was used against them, I'm certain. Malbear. Ah, yes. You said it possessed the power to lull others into a deep sleep. I admit that would explain these exceptional circumstances. Regardless, they were still bested by their enemy, and their charge was almost killed as a result. Punishment is the only recourse. Damn. Toa. I see. Harsh stance, maybe. But I can respect that you don't treat your duty lightly. Well, if you learn anything else of Leofine's plots, please let us know at once. Even though we didn't find her, I'm glad we were able to save those soldiers. Thank you for coming to us. From Malbert. Nay, 'tis the Temple Knights who owe you thanks. We shall continue our search, and rest assured, you shall be the first to know of any developments. Tentoa. Evray, there's more I would tell you about the cradle. Things I should have told you sooner. Join me over there and I'll do my best to fix that mistake. From Malbert. We now know what our enemy is capable of, and must plan accordingly. Rest assured, we shall not rest until Leofine is in shackles. Splish, splash. Tentoa. Tentoa. Now you've seen with your own eyes what I've only been able to describe. The narwhal's lullaby can put even hardened warriors into a restful slumber. They may as well be defenseless as a newborn babe. But even with such power, my people have never used it to attack our enemies. Its sole purpose has always been to keep a single person awake, an eternal guardian who would never sleep, never rest. The wide eye. Me. For 10 years I've been awake, training day and night to gain the strength I have now. The strength to shield my people. Of course, another must receive the weariness I cast aside. The Shut-Eye. You've met her, in fact. Lozinique. As I have been awake these 10 years, she's spent the better part of her days in a deep slumber. Her brief periods of wakefulness are spent exercising and eating, so her body doesn't waste away. And so we've barely spoken, despite how much I depend on her. When we were young, we'd spend our days exploring the mountain paths, but that time is long past. Telling you all this now, I realize how very little of my life has been dedicated to my own pursuits. Lozinique and I both have devoted ourselves entirely to the protection of our village. That explains your skill. How did Leofine steal the artifact from such an accomplished warrior? Don't you miss Lozinique? Yeah, let's go with that. Tentoa. I do. I see her only when I have to use the cradle, and even then she is sleeping. I barely remember what her smile looks like. A life unencumbered by sleep might seem like a life of freedom. But if those you care for the most aren't there to share it with you, it can feel like a prison. But we don't have the luxury to dwell on regrets. I see now that although my people never used the cradle for ill, wicked hearts can twist anything toward evil. And that's something I can't tolerate. The very thought that this might happen again makes the bile churn in my gullet. We must bring Leofine's schemes to an end. Between sleep and death, Tentoa has a worried expression on his face. Ooh, this might be just enough to level. 23.6. It'll be very close. Worried expression on his face. Tentoa. Just the person I wanted to see. I'd like to ask your advice on a certain matter, if you don't mind. It's been a while since my last letter to Lozanique. I wanted to wait until I discovered something worth sharing to write her, but we're still completely in the dark. I don't want her to worry, but I don't know what to tell her. Tell her you're in good spirits, that will suffice. Whatever you write, don't make her wait too long. The former. You might be right. Silence might make her think that something terrible has happened. Alright, I'll start right away. I may not have much time left. Oh, don't misunderstand. It's nothing so grave as that. It's just... the last time I used the cradle was just before it was stolen. Luckily, I'm still as alert as I've ever been, but it won't be long until I must dream like any other. That would give Leofine free rein while I'm helpless in bed. There is no quarry more dangerous than one who doesn't sleep. We have to see this through before that happens. For Malbert, Master Valkyrie, Master Tentoao. We have received the reports that several groups of Temple Knights have fallen afoul of what can only be your stolen artifact. Tentoao. Several? Let me guess. They were all guarding someone else. Malbert, you would be correct. It is the duty of a knight to protect those who cannot protect themselves. If we fail at even that most basic function, then our honor means nothing. As if the incident near Camp Dragonhead was not shameful enough, the knights in these most recent attacks were left in quite compromising positions. It's in a snow bubble. Snowball. Oh no. Shame to the order. Yet the weight of embarrassment is a trifle compared to the guilt we would bear if any innocent came to harm. The Fury was merciful in that respect, but we would rather not see these incidents repeat. Still, while the Temple Knights must work to repair their reputation in the days ahead, 'tis a far cry from bringing Ishgard crumbling to its knees. Truth be told, the methods of this passage of the Unbound leave me mystified. But Leofine was cunning, if nothing else. Till we can discern her true motivations, we have little recourse but to wait until she makes a mistake. Perhaps she gets her jollies seeing people humiliated. She may be testing the limits of the artifact's powers. Yeah. Then you suggest she has a greater purpose in mind for it, and these incidents are simply a prelude. We cannot discount that theory, I admit. We shall remain vigilant. Tentoao. There's no telling how much chaos she can sow if left unchecked. We have to do everything we can to get the cradle out of her clutches. And to do that, we have to start asking the right questions. This new information makes me wonder, why has she focused her attention on the Temple Knights? Revenge. For Malbert. I have pondered the same. Posted at Camp Dragonhead are knights from many houses of repute. including House for Tom. Being a former Temple Knight herself, Leofine doubtless knows their habits and training. Perhaps that makes it easier for her to exploit their weaknesses. Tentoawa. Then if we follow the Knights, we may pick up on her trail. It's not ideal, but it's the best we have to go on. Malbear. Well, a large contingent of Knights has but recently been dispatched to Kurthus. You remember Gorgagna Mills, yes? It has lain abandoned ever since the heretics were driven from it. Yet there is ever the risk that unsavory elements might infest it once again. Thus have the Temple Knights planned joint patrols of its premises with other contingents. If you speak with Sir Redwald at Falcon's Nest, I am certain he would be glad to have you along. Roger that. These job quests have cool camera work. It is an old red. It's been a while. Redwald. Is that Master Valkyrie I see? Of course you are ever welcome in Falcon's Nest. Yet I believe I do not know your companion here. Indeed, whispers of the Temple Knight's humiliations have reached us even here. Falling asleep while on duty. I dared not believe the stories, but it seems there was truth in them after all. Tentoawa. They fell asleep, true, but it wasn't their fault. We suspect they fell victim to an enemy wielding a powerful artifact. Redwald. Now, the rumors failed to mention anything like that. If it can lull even trained warriors to sleep, then we must treat it as a serious threat. Nevertheless, if one knight falls, another is always at the ready to take their place. So long as this artifact cannot put an entire regiment under its spell, I believe we are well positioned to combat it. Tentoawa, interesting. The idea of your allies falling in battle doesn't seem to disturb you at all. Where I hail from, a single warrior is responsible for the safety of his entire village. Redwald. Make no mistake, we do not doubt our allies' mettle, and we mourn every loss. Yet each man and woman here knows that if they must quit the battle, another sword just as fierce will take their place. Tentoawa. So know that an ally is at your back. It would allow you to fight with abandon. Redwald. Now, you believe this Leofine might take interest in our activities at Gorgagni Mills, yes? A party has already left, accompanied by a group of Temple Knights. If your suspicions are correct, then they are at risk. I would ask that you follow in their tracks and ensure they have not fallen victim to foul play. The mills can be found to the north, just across the Black Iron Bridge. The party should be arriving there soon, conditions permitting. Tentoawa. We have to reach them before Leofine does. Redwald, I can only hope that all is well, but having you there would do much to set my heart at ease. Ah, yes. Gangland Mills. Cool. Tentor. We are too late. They are fast asleep. But Redwald gave the impression there were more. These knights must have been the lookouts. We should awaken them, but keep your eyes peeled for Leofine. I'll rouse these ones. Ray, you search that building yonder. They haven't been left in embarrassing positions. This bears Leofine's mark all the same. I'll rouse this lot awake. Ray, you search that building over there. Yes, I'm very familiar with this building. Isn't the entrance at the back? Never mind. Whoa. Frightened voice. Who the hell's are you? How'd you get past the guards? Wow, that's cool. Voice that just interrupts me. Wow. That's cool. I've never seen that before. Whoa. How'd you get past the guards? Who said that? Ah, okay, I get it. He was saying that to them. I thought they were saying it to me. That makes more sense now. As Durendale, Scout. It's you. Thank the Fury you arrived when you did. Those thugs struck when our backs were turned. I assumed the Temple Knights were protecting the entrance, so I wasn't as cautious as I should have been. Were they killed? Nah, they fell asleep. Sleeping? I've heard the stories, of course, but I didn't think they were true. Whomever is behind this, I'm sure they didn't count on you showing up. For now, we shall tend to our wounds, and then finish our inspection here. Master Valkyrie, I ask that you join the knights outside and wait until we are finished. What are you guys doing down here? Summoning Shiva? Wow, cool camera work. Storytelling is good. Ah, finally. Menacing woman. Ah, as I thought. Just when I was becoming bored, I sighted a familiar face among these slumbering knights. I simply had to come and make sure it was you. Tentoawa, you finally found the courage to show yourself. Hand over the cradle now and I won't kill you. Whoa. Cool dodge. Menacing woman. What did they call you again? The Wide Eye? You must have had quite the journey to come this far. Tentoawa. Be careful, Evray. This is our quarry, the thief who stole the cradle of the sleepless. This is Leofine. Leofine, that is your ally? Wear their nimble hands. They may seek your artifact for themselves. It matters not, I suppose. Before you both throw your lives away, I suggest you think for a moment. Is the cause you fight for worth the sacrifice? So few of us know true freedom. If there is aught you would grasp with your own hands, do so before they wither and your eyes shut for the last time. The codes and rules that would bind men are mere illusions. Open your eyes, truly open them, and you shall see a path all your own. Only a fool would waste their life in the struggle of another. Tentoawa, quit spouting nonsense. Leofine, nonsense? Perhaps. I am here because of another, after all. A Pyahi, who came to me at the height of my debauchery and welcomed me into her devious brotherhood. She guided me to great power, yes, and now I lead others upon the unbound path. Oops. Yet, truth be told, I have little interest in seeing where it ends. To tear down the world's nations, Ishgard among them, and usher the world into... well, what does it matter? Yet I do derive great pleasure in shaming the Temple Knights, in seeing the snickers and jeers deflate their pompous stride as they walk down the streets. If this artifact can hasten their fall from grace, I believe I shall keep it. Whoa. Tentoawa, I know the path I walk. The one that leads to your downfall. Super Saiyan. And I won't abandon it. I'll take the cradle back. And then I'll... sleep. Leofine. Oh dear. You seem to have lost your train of thought. I know you cannot hear me, but if you want your artifact back, I might suggest stealing it from me while I'm asleep. But considering the burden I have just passed to you, that opportunity may not come for some time yet. Why, I feel absolutely transcendent. To think the shackles of fatigue weighed so heavily. Alas, it appears the artifact needs its own repose of sorts. No matter. I have learned more than enough to take my next step. See to it that this lot is disposed of. 'Tis the least you can do for the freedom I have given you. Bring it on. I'll destroy you all. Yeah. Easy peasy. Ooh, primal wrath. Tentoawa. Wake up. It's time to go to school. Try as you might to rouse Tentoawa, he seems completely detached from the waking world. Sleepy. Sleepy boy. How's doing there, Scout? It looks like you've saved us twice today. Thank you. But what of him? Bewildered Temple Knight, fast asleep, just as we were. Could this be what Sir Fermalbert warned us of in his report? It is an artifact. I see. Then those stories are more than just wicked rumors. I suppose there is some small comfort in the fact that our enemy tipped their hand without causing loss of life. Resolute Temple Knight. While the drowsiness made my eyes heavy, my ears could not mistake Leofine's arrogant voice. If she would not scruple to attack former comrades in arms, then she has fallen further than I had dared imagine. Bewildered Temple Knight. Yet we bear the blame for allowing her to get the upper hand, and in so doing put innocent lives in danger. Another black mark on our order. Resolute Temple Knight. 'Twas only thanks to you and your companions' efforts that the snow was not stained red this day. At the very least, allow us to carry him to the congregation. Yes, please. How's Durandare, Scout? Our work here is done, so we shall accompany them as far as Falcon's Nest. Evray, pray return to Ishgard and look after your friend. Please teleport me there. Damn you. Malbear. Full glad am I to see you well, Master Valkyrie. I understand you come fresh from an encounter with none other than Leofine. Master Tentoawa now rests on the second floor. We shall stand vigil by his side every moment until he opens his eyes again. We should not have long to wait, but if you wish to check on him, please do so at your leisure. There is another matter to discuss. Just before your departure to Gorgagna Mills, it seems there was another incident. A group of criminals were released from their cells, their guards found in a deep sleep. Doubtless Leofine was behind this. And doubtless the ruffians you clashed with were the selfsame criminals. Leofine is gathering those who bear a grudge against the Temple Knights to her side, and using this animosity to her advantage. We now know for certain that Leofine is the mastermind of these attacks, and that her aim is to chip away at the very foundation of the Temple Knights, our honor. When I shared these revelations with my superiors, it was decided that none would speak publicly of the artifact and its powers. The passage of the Unbound seeks to overthrow the nations of the world. One obvious method to achieve this goal would be to stoke the flames of unrest among the common folk. thus sinking Ishgard into a mire of chaos and distrust, not unlike the blasphemies of the final days. So long as these failures are placed squarely on the shoulders of the Temple Knights, we can avoid fomenting a more abiding mistrust in the nation's very core. For Ishgard's peace, I would gladly suffer any disgrace. The question remains as to whether we can apprehend Leofane before she tears our reputation to tatters. While Master Tentoawa slumbers, it falls to us to search for clues that might point towards her whereabouts. Oh, so close. Next tank. He said I could visit him. I wonder if he's actually here. Wait, I can't go in any of these rooms, can I? Who are you? Simply because a war ends does not mean we have peace. Nay, true peace lies within, as I was made to know in our struggle against despair. Ah, the final days were averted. Oh shit, he's here. Wow. Damn, it's made of wood. Very cool. Let me in. Beacon in the darkness. Malbear's eyes light up when he sees you. For Malbear, Leofane remains as elusive as ever. If she's in league with Ishgard's more unsavory elements, she could be hidden anywhere. We have only her cryptic statements to guide us. It seems that whatever her plan is, her actions thus far have been but a prelude to its climax. We can but hope that Tentoawa awakens before she emerges again. Familiar voice. Evray, there you are. It wouldn't be. Oh. Lozenique. I'm so glad I found you. I was starting to think I was in the wrong city, but the narwhal guided me true. From Albert. Oh, you must be the maiden Tentoawa mentioned. You hail from the same village, yes? I am Firmalbear of the Temple Knights. 'Tis an honor to meet you. Lozenique. Ah, Tentoawa wrote about you in his letters. I'm Lozenique, and the honor is all mine. Where is he? Is Tentoawa with you? I haven't received a letter from him for some time, so I came here to check on him myself. He's having a nap. You insufferable fool. What have I always told you about rushing ahead without thinking? Now you even have the gall to be sleeping when I arrive. You promised you'd write to me. What was I supposed to do when the letters stopped coming? I was so worried. At least I can take some small comfort. He appears otherwise unharmed. I take it you're to thank for that, Evray. Is there any way to counteract the Cradle's influence? He told me you were the Shut-Eye. Let's keep it on topic. Can one stay awake forever by sheer force of will? The answer is the same. Although we can deny ourselves food or drink, sleep is another matter. It always finds us in time. And to rouse oneself from a slumber this deep is an impossible task, even for someone like Tentoawa. Malbear, do you know why Tentoawa sleeps so soundly? The reports of other incidents indicated that those affected awoke in a matter of moments. Yet Tentoawa shows no signs of stirring. Zenique, well, that's... I'm sorry, I can't say for certain. But I do know the stories of those who came before me. More than one shut-eye has fallen into a sleep much like this. One so absolute that they become deaf to the outside world. With no means to sustain their bodies, they would waste away if left alone. So our people found a mixture of herbs and other materials that helped usher the shut-eye back to the waking world. Malbear, what could possibly be strong enough to bring someone back from this? Zenique, we call it spring dew, and the secrets of its makings are passed down through generations. Each drop acts as a ray of sunshine in the darkness of sleep, a beacon for the dreamer to follow. I carry some of the ingredients on my person, but others must be gathered fresh. It won't be an easy task, but I'm certain it will save Tentoawa. I don't know their Eorzean name, but one of the flowers blooms a striking yellow, and grows only where mountain peaks soar above the clouds. Being so close to the heavens, it drinks in the sunlight, and its petals cleanse the body and promote wakefulness. Malbear, in the churning mists blooms a yellow flower called the dandelion. In no other place in Eorzea can one be closer to touching the sun. Zenique, good. Next we'll need the saliva of a beast we call morbols, and the thicker it is, better. The pungent odor could wake the dead. Malbear, I know them well. Morbols are not an uncommon sight in the Dravanian hinterlands. A mature specimen should possess saliva with the desired effect. The prospect of gathering it, however, is an unenviable task. Zenique, once we have those two ingredients, mixing them with the rest should be a simple matter. Do you think you could procure them, Evray? Yeah, alright. Oh, your confidence is reassuring. Since the morbol saliva must be the fresher of the two, ask that you first climb into the heavens and pick dandelions, or Tentoawa. So this is how Tentoawa looked upon me for so long. The sight is unsettling, I admit. Please, Evray, come back soon. I want to hear his voice. Picking flowers. I'm a gunbreaker. Picking flowers. Hey, this one's much bigger. The sun-drenched dandelions shine an almost golden yellow. Now for a much more gruesome task. Venture to the Drovanian hinterlands and collect saliva from the mouth of a full-grown morbull. Ayya. Ah. Malbear, judging from that lingering odor, I take it you have the materials. I doubt anyone could sleep through such a potent mixture, but we shall soon see. I'm ready to start mixing the ingredients at once. That is, of course, assuming you've brought them with you. Sun-drenched dandelion, found blooming among the floating isles above Eorzea. The petals of this dandelion glow almost as brilliantly as the sun which nourishes them. Great putrid morbull saliva. So pungent that not a sealed vial can contain its scent completely. A single whiff of this saliva can wrench even the deepest sleeper back into the waking world. Here you are. Zenique. These are difficult to acquire at the best of times, so I thank you for gathering them so quickly. I shall get started immediately. We've done all we can. Now we wait for Tentoawa to open his eyes. What a jump scare. Tentoawa, huh? Where am I? Zenique. I hope you enjoyed sleeping the days away, Tentoawa. And I'm glad you're finally awake. Tentoawa. Zenique? What are you doing here? I see. So Leofine wielded the cradle against me, and while I was tucked soundly in bed, Zenique came all this way. Curse my weakness. Just when we had her, just when I was needed the most, I failed. For 10 years I endured countless trials, and when the time came I couldn't even swing my damn weapon. Lozanique, it's not your fault, Tentoa. If anyone's to blame for what's happened, it's me. Tentoa, no, I won't hear it. Lozanique, as you may know, Leofine won our trust by posing as a scholar traveling the width and breadth of Tural. She expressed great interest in the cradle and our customs. And I was so excited to meet an outsider that I answered her every question. I told her that the White Eye keeps the cradle with them at all times. And then she hatched her plan. She took me hostage to draw out Tentoa. While Lozanique was sleeping, Leofine snuck into her chamber and held a blade to her throat. I had no choice but to give her what she wanted, the cradle of the sleepless. I put Lozanique's life before the future of our people. It was at that moment I became unfit to be their guardian. Once we get the cradle back, all will be forgiven. Lozanique is one of your people. Protecting her was your duty. Yeah. Oh my god. Tentoa. Thank you, Avery. You know just what to say. That was the only way to see a future where none of my people come to harm. Especially Lozanique. Lozanique. Even without the cradle, you're still our guardian. My guardian. We'll find a way through this together. Tentoa. Seeing you in such high spirits lifts my own. Yay. Oh, and before I forget, you trounced Leofine's thugs while I was dreaming in the snow, didn't you? I owe you a debt I won't soon forget. And I wager that debt will grow larger before we pry the treasure from Leofine's clutches. But whatever it takes, I won't stop until she's answered for her crimes. Lozanique. I'm embarrassed to admit, that was the first time I've ever created the mixture. I'm glad it worked as intended. Tentoa. You know, while I was sleeping, I dreamed. I saw Lozanique and I as children. Nothing particularly interesting happened. We just whiled the days away, without a care in the world. I'd forgotten what it was like to dream. It was pleasant. I can remember wanting to stay there, to never open my eyes again. But of course the moment I gave form to that thought, I opened them, and Lozanique was there. Even if we get the cradle back, will things return to the way they were? Will you go back to spending your life in dreams? Lozanique, I suppose so. It's my duty as the Shut-Eye, after all. Tentoa, your duty. And it was your duty too that compelled you to come all the way here to Ishgard. But no more. Zenique, what are you saying? Tentoawa, I tried so hard to convince myself that you were glad spending so much time asleep. But being on the other side made me realize I was lying to myself all along. I don't want to return to a life where you and I are bound together, but always so far apart. I want to go back to those happy days when we were by each other's sides. I guess what I'm saying is, there's a different path for us. I want to find it. Now I want to walk it with you. But not yet. First we reclaim the cradle. And when we have, we'll take our first steps towards that new future. I promise. I must confess, I haven't felt the same since I woke up. I know I was in that bed for a while, but instead of feeling refreshed, my body feels weaker somehow. It's almost as if my very strength was sapped when the treasure was turned on me. I can't even grip my weapon properly. Perhaps the cradle has been sapping the ether of its targets all along. Leofine did remark that she felt invigorated. Maybe she took your vitality for herself. Yes. Via sucking your ether. Tentoawa. Then does that mean the cradle has powers we don't know about? Zenique. Not exactly. It may just mean the cradle works differently than we thought. Its wielder might not pass on their fatigue. Rather, they absorb another's vigor. Tentoawa. The end effect would be the same. The cradle's wielder can go on without sleep, and its victim loses the strength to even keep their eyes open. Zenique, you never took more than you needed, so my slumber was always light enough to awaken from. But if the treasure was used without restraints... Tentoawa, if we've had this realization, it won't be long until Leofine does too. And then it will be too late. We have to root her out. But I mustn't rush ahead blindly, as Zenique never tires of telling me. I feel nearly weak as a child right now. I must spend what precious time we have training to regain what strength Leofine stole from me. You have my word, I won't rest until I'm in top form again. I suggest that you do the same, if for no other reason than to give me some stiff competition. Zenique. I don't have enough ingredients to make spring dew again. We'll have to deal with Leofine before the cradle's power returns. Awakened, not stirred. Tentoawa appears healthier, but there is still a hint of weariness in his expression. What's up? Tentoawa. You're looking strong, Evray. While I'm not my old self yet, I'm feeling better by the day. Still, there's much work to be done. I need to be even better than I was before if we're to have any hope of catching Leofine. Zenique. I wonder what she's plotting with the rest of her cohorts. We know they aim to topple nations around the world, but this is an odd way to go about it, don't you think? Why haven't her misdeeds in Ishgard extended any further than the Temple Knights? Tentoawa, we've pondered that same question. Our best guess was that as a former Temple Knight herself, she chose them because she knows how to exploit their weaknesses. She's using her knowledge as her weapon. And we need to equip ourselves likewise. If we can learn more about her, we might be able to anticipate her next move. Tensuawa, a good plan, but I admit I have no idea where to start. Should we ask for Malbert? Lizanique. I already have. He said that while he never knew her personally, knights in her old squadron might be able to shed light onto her past. Some of them even now patrol the city, and for Malbert was a great help in telling me where they might be. Tensuawa, you've been busy, Lizanique. Well, I can't remember the last time I was awake this long. I didn't want to sit around until I got tired again. Tensuawa, and we're all better for it. Since you've gathered the information, it's only fitting I should do the legwork. Just tell me where these knights are, and I'll speak with them. Lizanique, gladly. But Ishgard is still an unfamiliar city for both of us, right? Although if Malbert told me where to go, the names of these places mean nothing to me. Luckily, we have Evray to guide you. You'll go with Tensuawa, won't you? Yeah. I knew we could count on you. Alright, take note of these locations. Blah 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 blah. How many Temple Knights are there? That not even for Malbert would know all of them. I can barely imagine. Tensuawa. Being forced to work with someone like Leofine isn't a fate I would envy. I'm curious to hear what these knights have to say about her. Hopefully they provide insight that'll help guide us forward. Time is of the essence, Evray. Let's get moving. This whole city is in the charge of the Temple Knights, isn't it? There's no way a single warrior could defend it. While I don't doubt their honor as a whole, it's inevitable that a rotten seed like Leofine would eventually find its way into their ranks. Until recently, I had believed our remote corner of Jacques Tural was the safest place in the world. But if danger can find us even there, I'm not sure what to think anymore. So many places to explore. Huh. He's up above. Courteous Temple Knight. Now, this is a rare privilege. What business could the savior of Ishgard have with the humble knights? Tell me about Leofine. You want to know about Leofine? Well, many Temple Knights come from common stock, but she was different. Despite what she became, Leofine was born of noble blood. Even so, she often made mock of Ishgard's customs and the responsibilities that bound the conduct of noble families. Doubtless, she yearned for freedom all her life. Or her idea of it, anyways. Although her deeds caused her to be expelled from the Temple Knights and summarily stripped of her title, she may have actually desired that outcome. Tensuawa. If she hated it so much here, all she had to do was leave. Just leave, lol. Courteous Temple Knight. I hear she did leave, for a time at least. Now she's in league with a group that aims to plunge the world into chaos. It's a selfish heart like Leofine. Now, if a selfish heart like Leofine was sought out to aid in this plot, I shudder to imagine how wicked their leader must be. To choose your path, your own path, in life is all well and good, but not if it keeps others from doing the same. We've labored for generations to see that liberty is shared equally, but there are ever those who would tear down what we've built. It baffles the mind. Imposing sleep onto another is to strip them of their most basic freedom. That Leophine decries the bonds of custom, yet does not scruple to rob another of their will, betrays her base nature. Wow. Base. So well spoken are these knights. Keen-eyed Temple Knight. Do you require aid? Where's the camera angle? Here we go. Do you require aid? I must keep watch, so forgive me if I don't engage in idle chit-chat. Leophine? For her I can spare a moment. I don't suppose you know why she was expelled from the Temple Knights, do you? While few were her equal in swordplay and fewer still handled her mounts with such grace, she oft spent her nights carousing in the gambling halls. It was after such a night that she fell asleep while on duty. Some may call it a cruel twist of fate, but dragons attacked her charges as she slept, and they were left defenseless. In her negligence, she was deemed to have aided our ancestral foe, and thus was stripped of her knighthood and noble title both. 10 to hour. Knights falling asleep on duty. A story that's become all too familiar. Keen-eyed Temple Knight. Given what happened, I've no doubt she came to fear sleep. Yet now she has conquered that weakness, and she wields it as a weapon against us. She may even believe herself to be beyond the reach of mortal danger. Yet she's only deluding herself, and in time she'll be made to answer for her deeds. A protector knows the importance of rest, yet Leophine denied it to chase fleeting thrills until the sun rose. She's nothing but a fool with delusions of grandeur. Damn. These knights are cool. Discuss the statue of Saint Rennet. 10 to hour. I've heard that the people of Ishgard revere a warrior god, but here is a statue of a flesh and blood knight. I've never seen such a thing. My people make no figures or depictions of our departed, fearing that such objects would keep them from finding their way to the next world. The only idol we keep is the cradle of the sleepless, and thanks to its blessings, a wide eye has always watched over us. So our reverence is devoted solely to the narwhal. It's enough that it guides our people safely to the next sunrise. What the hell is the narwhal, man? Spirited Temple Knight. All is quiet. Even so, I must remain vigilant. Tell me about Leophine. Leophine, eh? A name spoken of in hushed whispers now. But many have forgotten her strategic genius. She had a singular talent for achieving victory in battle by whatever means necessary. 10 to hour. Genius? Maybe we're just too dense to see how her actions would cause Ishgard to collapse. Spirited Temple Knight. Given that her group seems relatively few in number, an assault on Ishgard is unlikely. Rather, I think her aim is to chip away at the people's trust in Ishgard's foundation, and by the absence of a few vital bricks, bring the whole nation tumbling down. The thoughts gives me worry. Even now, representatives from Ishgard are preparing to visit Okzundu in the Sea of Clouds. If anything were to go wrong, it would be a grievous blow to Ishgard's reputation. As we saw at Falcon's Nest, certain elements that oppose our nation see friendly gestures. As we saw at Falcon's Nest, certain elements that oppose our nation see friendly gestures as a chance to spark conflict. Given recent developments, Sir Handelo has been debating whether the visit is a wise choice. Tentoawa. Well, we have a general understanding of what drives our adversary. Stories that paint a picture of a rotten, conniving soul. We know enough to guess her next move. It must have been hard on the Lord Commander. What? I'm going to do that one because I don't know what the hell that's referring to. The Lord Commander? I take it that's the leader of the Temple Knights, of these Temple Knights. While fancy titles hold little interest for me, I sympathize with anyone who had to give orders to a rotten apple like Leofine. Giving the Temple Knights a warning is the least we can do. It's clear that this delegation, was it, might prove an enticing target for Leofine. Finally, we have knowledge to use against our enemy. If we all work together, we might be able to trap her. We haven't much time. Let's return to the congregation and tell this Handelu what we know. Spirited Temple Knight. The wheels are in motion, and doubtless Sir Handelu would welcome news of potential threats before they catch us unawares. I believe he is yet planning the details of the visit at the congregation. Okay. Guess the Lord Commander comment was just in general. I thought I might have missed something. Hello, Malbear. You wish to speak with Sir Handelu? Very well, please enter. Ah. Old chap. Handelu. You are ever welcome at the congregation, Evray. I am well apprised of Leofine's wicked deeds, and your efforts to flush her out have been much appreciated. And this must be Master Tentoawa. Crossed the ocean from Tural. I hope you have recovered from your ordeal. Tentoawa. I'm better than ever. Apologies for taking up one of your beds for so long. Handelu. Please, no apologies are necessary. On the contrary, the Temple Knights yet owe you a debt for all you have done. Which brings us to the purpose of this visit. You had something to discuss with me? Yo ambush at Sea of Clouds. I see you and I had the same doubts. The delegation to Okzundu would be an obvious target for Leofine. I was but recently debating the wisdom of moving forward with our plans. As you know, all of Ishgard falls under the protection of the Temple Knights. As such, it is only meet that we maintain and strengthen friendly relations with our neighbors. The delegation in question is tasked with deepening mutual understanding of each of our unique cultures. Sonuvanu, chief of the Zundu, is most eager to host. Yet so long as the spectre of Leofine hangs over our order, I fear visits abroad are unwise. Should any of the Vanu Vanu come to harm, our relations could be damaged irreparably. As we have no way of knowing if Leofine has caught wind of our plans, I am of the mind that postponing the delegation may be the most prudent course of action, for the safety of all. This could also be the perfect chance to draw her out. The Zundu will be safe under our watch. Perfect chance to draw her out. Tensuawa, that's right. Ray and I won't let anyone come to harm. And as long as you warn the Vanu Vanu in advance, they shouldn't hold the actions of a rogue against you. If they're truly your allies, they'll see the wisdom in your judgments. Please, send the delegation as planned. It'll be our best chance to capture Leofine. Andalou. Yes, your words have merit. Thank you for the sage counsel. You are right. The Zundu would not stand idly by while we suffer at Leofine's hand. In fact, the fellowship between our two peoples was forged when a god assailed their home and was brought low by a great hero, Evray. Huh. If we tell the Zundu that he is keeping watch over the proceedings, then I am certain all doubts shall be quelled. Tentuawa, then you'll proceed? Andalou, indeed. The time has come for we Temple Knights to reclaim our honor and go on the counter-offensive. I shall bring the suggestion of a joint operation against Leofine to the Lord Commander as soon as possible. Tensuawa, thank you. Together we'll put a stop to her scheme. Andalou, I first must discuss matters with the others involved before we present a plan to the Lord Commander. Although time is of the essence, I ask that you wait a while until our course is settled. Sir Emmerich, my old amigo. I shall summon all involved in planning the delegation to the congregation at once. Pray wait while we discuss matters and reach a final decision. Not destination. Malbert, I have heard of your suggestion to join with Zundu in bringing Leofine to justice. We were so focused on our tarnished honor that we were blind to the allies right in front of us. Zinique, Tentuawa told me what you learned of Leofine. To be honest, I do empathize somewhat with her desire to be free from the bonds of sleep, but that's where my sympathy ends. It's exactly because we must sleep, and every waking moment is precious. A life awake is meaningless if we can't spend it with those we care about. Tentuawa, I realize now that I agreed to defend a people I know next to nothing about. Tell me of these Zundu we'll soon be visiting. They look like large fluffy birds. They're like the Hanu Hanu, with even more of a penchant for metaphor. A penchant. Centaur, really? Two groups of such people so far apart? The world really is full of surprises. Even a single city is enough for a lifetime. Every day I hear something that gives me food for thought. Like the story of the Dragon Song War, for instance. Generations of animosity between dragon and man that somehow ended in a rekindled fellowship. I imagined a whole world like that. A world where there'd be no need for protectors. The Wide Eye watches not only the monsters in the wilderness, but our neighbors as well. We've barely even considered sending delegations outside our village's gates. And the cold snap only made things worse. With everyone struggling just to survive, our every thought goes towards defending our scarce resources. But if we only look outward with wariness, there's no hope for the future to change. No hope to build trust. If only there was a way to bridge the distance between us and greet tomorrow hand in hand. But maybe that's just a silly dream. Zanique. Maybe. Either way, it's a beautiful thought. Ah ha 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 ha. Tensual, I'm glad you think so. I'll hold that future in mind as I get back to training. As for you, Evray, get some rest. If you fall asleep when I need you most, I'll wake you up with a knock to the head. Okay. Aquabaza. I'm hungry. Zanique. Tentoa was finally acting like his old self again. Now I'm sure we're ready for whatever lies ahead. Dreams of a new day. Oh, no EXP on the last one, I forgot. Let's go, Paladin. Huh. Dreams of a new day. Tenzoawa is eager to set a trap for Leofine. Sir Underloop still hasn't sent word. I guess the others might not be so enthusiastic about our plan. Oh, I'm sure he's right around the corner. Zanique. To them, the cradle of the sleepless is naturally still something to be feared. No matter how much faith they have in your strength, you'd be at Leofine's mercy if she puts you to sleep. Tentoawa. Honestly, I don't blame them. Not even I imagined our treasure could be used for such evil. In Leofine's hands, it's no more than an indiscriminate weapon. But that means when we get it back, we can turn it into something else. Something no one's ever thought of before. We can find a way to use it without forcing someone to spend their life in slumber. Zanique. Of course I agree with you, Tentoawa, but we have more pressing matters, namely a rogue knight to capture and a treasure to recover. Tentoawa. Right, sorry, I got ahead of myself. Underloop. Apologies for keeping you waiting so long. The Temple Knights have finally reached a decision concerning the delegation to the Sea of Clouds. Tentoawa. And what have you decided? Underloop. I am pleased to say that the Zundu have agreed to join forces with us. Together we shall drive back Leofine, should she attack. If her shadow darkens even an ilm of their homeland, our peaceful delegation shall turn into a fighting force at a moment's notice. We shall restore the Temple Knight's reputation and recover your artifact in one fell swoop. Tentoawa. Thank you, Underloop. We promise to do our part. If Leofine shows herself, she won't get away this time. Underloop. We have but to hammer out the finer details. Once we are ready to depart, the first group of knights shall leave by airship. I would ask you both to make your way to Oxundu as soon as possible, so you may help plan our strategy. Lozenique. I'm coming too. I can heal your wounds, and if it comes to it, my staff can bruise as well as a club. Nice. Tentoawa. I'll gladly have you with us. I'm done taking on the world alone. I need you, Lozenique, and Evray too. We are stronger together than we could ever be apart. The cradle never would have been stolen if I'd realized that from the beginning. And I want you by my side to ensure I don't forget it. Well then, we'd better be off. I'm keen to meet this chief, Sonu Vanu. Okay, Zandu. Ok, Zandu. Where's the chief? Hello, chief. Sonu Vanu, honored Netherling, your return to Okzundu is as welcome as the arrival of spring. Sonu knows why you come. Wicked hearts seek to bring chaos to our home. And so the Zundu shall rise to its defense if needed. As the sun's rays chase away the shadows of night, the sun-drop dance shall keep the tendrils of sleep at bay. Tentoawa, Chief Sonu Vanu, it's an honor to meet you. I'm Tentoawa, and if this sun-drop dance is as invigorating as you say, I'd love to see it for myself. Sonu Vanu, the Zundu shall dance before Ishgard's warriors upon their arrival. Brave Tentoawa is welcome to join the proceedings. Lozenique, that was your original intent, right? I see. If we're to draw Leofine out, it makes sense to pretend like nothing is amiss. Sonu Vanu, Zundu warriors unify their strength through the sun-drop dance, and the sight is so fearsome that many choose to flee rather than fight. Netherling warriors may learn much from such an approach. Breaking the enemy's spirit avoids needless bloodshed. Yet all dancers must hone their skills before wild animals first. That the sun-drop dance does not fail them at the most crucial moment. It is for that reason our dancers await at the outskirts of Okzundu for the Netherlings' arrival. When the performance begins, it shall draw the attention of all like a roiling cloud coming from the horizon. Watch carefully for any who would take advantage of that moment. After the dance is finished, Netherlings will present the Zundu with Zundu here. Chief Sonu, Netherling ship appears in the skies like sudden sun shower, hurtling toward Earth. Swiftly it descends, crashing down near Zundu dancers. Ship's markings are Ishgardian. Zundu are unhurt, but wounded Netherlings pour from vessel. The Temple Knights would never harm the Zundu intentionally. Like a lightning bolt in the night, Leofine strikes. Yes, her hands are all over this. She made them fall asleep. Zenique, the Temple Knights were coming by airship, right? All Leofine had to do was lull the pilots asleep. Tentoawa, she saw right through us. And now we're on the back foot. Sonu Vanu, great winds can alter even a raging river's course. What matters is to stand strong and move forward. And now, we must offer aid to the Netherlings who come as guests. Tentoawa, right. Let's go. Zandu, fix it. Chief, let me speak to the chief again. Go as a gale wind to the wrecked airship. Sonu shall muster warriors to search nearby islands. This Leofine will not catch the Zandu unawares again. Right on, chief. Zanique. We are fortunate that Leofine chose the outskirts of the settlement to enact her horrible plan. Imagine if the ship crashed over Oxundu or even Ishgard. Tentoawa. If this is the work of the cradle, Leofine can't be far. We must tend to the wounded, but I won't let her escape again. This ends today, one way or the other. Oh, sleepy little boys. Oh, zoom in. Tentoawa. There you are, Leofine. Leofine, you came all this way just to greet me? Oh, I am honored. I only hope my gift was satisfactory. 'Tis a shame you will not see Ishgard crumble. Alas, I can scarcely suffer rats to scurry about my feet, threatening to gnaw away at my carefully laid plans. At least you bear witness to the dying breath of the Temple Knight's flagging honor. We would sooner see that wrecked airship soar again than their reputation return to its former glory. Yet even I did not foresee that the Zandu would be in the ship's path. The fury favors me. For who now would trust a nation so careless as to put their neighbors at risk? Zanique, everyone knows you're behind this. People won't turn on each other so easily. Leofine. Oh, I didn't see you there. The shut-eye, wide awake. Doubly honored I am that you came all this way just to meet your end. Zanique, enough! We're taking the cradle back. We won't let your evil continue any longer. Leofine, such bold words. If I recall correctly, your people reaped great benefits from this artifact's powers, all at the cost of someone's waking life. Your life. Pray, do not misunderstand me. That was not meant to be a denouncement of your people. On the contrary, they have my utmost respect. We are bound by our very nature. No matter how mighty we become, we are slaves to the whims of sleep. Yet this artifact can sunder those shackles and grant true freedom. It makes its wielder stronger, and their enemies weak. Perfect weapon, if you ask me. Tentoawa, I can't say whether using the cradle is right or wrong. I only know that a life lived at the cost of another is no life at all. You're right about one thing. We are bound by our nature. That doesn't shackle us, brings us together. And whether I'm asleep or awake, as long as Zanique is by my side, that's the life I want. We'll take the cradle back together. Show her no quarter. I'll be your shield. Yeah, that's cooler. Tentoala, she's exhausted the cradle's power on the Temple Knights. This is our chance. Leofine. No plan is without its wrinkles, I suppose. Fortunately, I prepare for all contingencies. Back up. Unbound, Leofine, the unchivalrous. I missed it. You had an opportunity to live a quiet life, but I will not give it again. This time I shall send you into a slumber from which you will never wake. How do I play Paladin? Give back the cradle, we'll take it back. All bluster as usual. Take it if you dare. Man. Ooh, Thunder of Dance. Nice. Gaelic Cabin to Storm Sky. Leofine, the artifact swells with power. It begs to be released. Now, you shut your eyes for the final time. Take a glimpse of the waking world. Take a last glimpse of the waking world. That's what I was gonna do. Sleeping on the job. Nice. Thanks. Come on, man. Oh, where's my interrupt? Die. Leofine, oh, you stubborn. You may have won today, but this is not over. Oh, come on. Tentoawa. Yes, it is. I'll save you. Damn. Leofine. Damned fool. Sleepy time. Now. Leofine, no. This is mine. Say goodnight, Leofine. Damn. Damn. The wide eye watches eternal, and eternal is the sleep it bestows. Wake me up. Zanikwe, we finally stopped her. Tentoawa, yes, but we have someone else to worry about. Look how soundly I'm asleep. Tentoawa, Every, wake up. Are you alright? I'm having the best sleep of my life, man. Ha, only he would smile at a time like this. Get down, Mr. President. Huh. 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 Thank you, New Zealand birds. Zanikwe, he's awake. Such devastation. Yeah. Zundu warrior. Netherling looks hailed as a warrior in their prime. Good. Our wicked foes fled from Sundrop Dance like twilights before dawn. They say during the fight. Too much text. Can't read it during the fight. It's just flavor text, right? Succumb to the burden of sleep and dream eternal. Reading green on green. There we go. There we go. Alright. Zanikwe. It's good to see you awake. Don't worry, you weren't asleep for long. And judging by your fierce expression, the cradle didn't sap any of your trademark vigor. Tentoawa. Your work is done, Evere. You did a commendable job as our shield, and now you can lay down your burden. It was thanks to your bravery that I was able to deal the final blow to Leofine. And with the cradle back in our possession, I think we can consider this expedition across the seas to be a success. Zanikwe, the Zundu helped us gather the wounded and see them safely off to Ishgard. We couldn't have done it without you. Zundu warrior, Netherlings protect allies as fiercely as Gaelicat protects kittens. Zundu are moved by your might. Tentoawa, you were equally as impressive. I should learn the Sundrop dance myself, though I won't strike a figure half as fierce as yours. Brr. The Zundu seem to have everything well in hand, and Handaloop is likely eager to see us. We should return to Ishgard as soon as we can. And these quests are long. Malbear. I have received word that Leofine will no longer be a thorn in our side. You and our companions from Tural truly were sent by the Fury herself. Handaloo. Ah, the heroes of the day have returned. Thanks to your valor, the threat Leofine posed is no more. What's more, not a single life was lost. On behalf of the Temple Knights, allow me to express my utmost gratitude to you all. Tentoawa, you don't owe me any thanks. After all, it was my fault that the cradle was stolen in the first place. And ultimately my fault that your delegation to Oxundu turned into a melee. Handaloo. It may be true that our visit to the Sea of Clouds was far from peaceful, but the bond between the Zundu and the Temple Knights has only deepened through overcoming mutual adversity. Blessings often take inscrutable forms. And while we know not whether Leofine yet lives, we do know that she can no longer reach the source of her ill-gotten power. So we have little more to fear from her. With the crisis behind us, common folk no longer have aught to fear. We will make known the story of Leofine's schemes and the heroes who worked to foil them. And in time, I hope that trust in our order will be restored. The Temple Knights shall continue to build relations with our neighbors for years to come, relations which shall form the foundation for Ishgard's future. We would be honored if you would if we could count you among our allies in this endeavor. Tentoawa, anything you need, simply call upon us. We'll be there, no questions asked. And with that, it's time we returned home. It's been an honor. We'll be passing through Tuliyolal on our way back, Evere. If you have business in those parts, we'd love to speak with you at Jibalyev Tier before setting off. See you soon, hopefully. Tuliyolal. Andalou. For 10 years, he alone defended his people without rest or sleep. I understand the importance of tradition, but Master Tentoawa seems to be more suited for walking a path of his own making. He needs but to know his own heart, and I believe these recent events have given him such knowledge. He is bound for greatness, regardless of how he chooses to live. Good old Ishgard. I miss this place. Oof, 1 out of 5. Oh, definitely not doing them all in one night. Probably stick to one a night. Let's see if they say anything different first. Same. Tentoawa. I'm glad you made it back to Tural, Evray. I'd been in Ishgard for so long I'd almost forgotten what it's like to sweat. But I remember now, you can be sure. Evray, there you are. I was afraid we wouldn't see you before we left. We arrived not long ago and apprised Brukavu of everything that happened. This is the longest I've spent away from our village, but even though Tuliyollal and Ishgard were like entirely different worlds to me, I was only ever treated with kindness. Is anything the matter, Tentoawa? Tentoawa. Nothing, it's just something I've been thinking about. Our people have always been self-sufficient, but the Ishgardians and the Zundu showed that looking to your neighbor can reveal a way through the harshest difficulties. And you heard, Andalou. The bond between Ishgard and Noxundu was only made deeper through their shared ordeal. To trust another to such a degree, well, I think it's a goal we should all strive toward. We have at least one friend like that, don't we? He who bent his ears to every note of the narwhal's lullaby without a shade of fear in his eyes. Me? Thank you, Evray. For believing in us. For believing that no matter the outcome, your actions would not be in vain. In so doing, you taught me the worth of fighting alongside allies you can trust. Even if your shield breaks, that is not the end. I only protected you as you protected me. Ugh. Did he protect me? I guess so. He fell asleep during the snow. Sure. I only protected you as you protected me. Tentoawa. Is that what I did? I honestly don't remember much about that moment. I think I was only acting on instinct. I suppose that's what it means to have faith in your allies. Yeah, see, that's what I thought too. But approaching someone with open arms doesn't mean they'll accept you. Relations between our people and our neighbors have been strained by generations of mistrust, and we must take care to mend them properly. If we can do that, and learn to look towards the future hand in hand, then there will be no need to use the cradle ever again. People can sleep and dream untroubled, and awaken with bright eyes. I want to see those days come to pass. Rosaniqui, me too. Then you and I can finally spend more time together. Tento, right, of course. Ozanique, if we are going to see this future, then we should get back to our village. They'll be overjoyed to see the cradle returned. Tentoawa, thanks for everything, Evere. Next time we meet, may we both have good news to share. Bye, friends. Safe travels. Yay. We did it again. No sleep till Tuliolal. Oops. Let's see, is this the same still? Yep. Yep. Cool. Alright. 1 out of 5 completed. Next time I will do probably the healer one before doing the DPS. See you then. GG's.